I'm super excited to chat with you. Thank you so much. The new show, I'm really enjoying it. Can you I guess talk about your role and the show itself? Like, why did you sort of want to get involved in it?
Are we talking about, because I have two things out now. This is which one is this? What are we talking about?
Oh, the one with Stanley Tucci.
Well, that's one reason why to do the show.
True, yeah.
I wanted it because it was because I thought it was an interesting case. I think as well because it was about cultural heritage and the importance of it to a nation of people, and in this case, being Spain. But for all cultures, there's very little respect, as we are seeing as we speak, in the world, So that was the main reason for doing it, and also because it's a good story. It's a real good story, and also have a chance to work with Alejandro Amenabar. Well,
in the first episode of the show, you have this really nice scene with Stanley, the dinner scene. When you do something like that, a scene like that, is there much rehearsal, or do you guys, since you guys are both sort of complete pros, do you just sort of sit down and start to play?
Yeah, you sit down and you start, and that's exactly it. You play. We both know our intention in the scene, and you come to it with the intention, and you try to realize that as best as you can as actors. And sometimes, you're feeding your other actor. Other times, they're feeding you. But as long as you listen and you're present in the moment, emotionally, and connecting and looking the person in their eye, yes, you can pretty much get it.
I'm an actor too, and when you talk about listening, it seems so easy to say, but the practice is just very hard to do.
Yes, and as an actor, that when you do listen, a scene can move very quickly. You wonder where the time went when you look back at it, because when you're absorbed in the scene, it carries both of you as actors, and I love that. That's what I love about acting, basically, I guess.
Yeah, there's some times when I've done a scene and I just don't even remember doing it. It's rare for me, and I'm sure it's not rare for you though, but yeah.
No, it is rare for me, and when you're playing with somebody like Stanley, then you know that you're on point, because it does move quickly, and you go, damn. And you're not thinking about, well, I should have done, and I should have tried this and that. You're not thinking about that because you're in the moment.
Is there ever times when you're driving home from set and you're like, oh man, I should have said it this way, or should have done it this way, or damn it?
Yes. There's I've had lots of those moments. I've had lots of those moments, Lance. Yes, it's I guess we have those moments because we care about what we do, and because the creative process hasn't stopped. There's more than just, well, as there's more than just regurgitating words on the text, on the page. You're investing part of yourself in that character, in that moment, in that scene, and that carries with it a certain momentum. And when it's on and the impetus is there, particularly if you have a whole day of scenes, or if you're leaving the theater, and particularly in theater, in the rehearsal period, you're always on point and constantly churning over what you could do next and you're looking forward to doing it, the next day at rehearsal, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but yes, I've had those moments for sure.
Before sort of taking on a role like this, are you interested in kind of the history of the setting, or do you enjoy or do you want to learn about history, so you want to research it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or is it kind of both?
Yeah, it is kind of both. In this particular instance, as I was saying earlier, I was more interested in the trial process, and in particular, the closing argument, and what needed to be said there, and the questions that he poses to the court are the same questions that Clarke would like to pose to the world at large. You know, what happened to respect? What happened to the education of our kids? What do we do with each other? You know, where's patience? You know, where's altruism? Those type of questions are questions that that I wonder about daily, you know, in my own life. But at the same time, you know, there's, I know about this particular case, and I know that it was based on something similar that happened, I think, back in the 90s, you know, where there was a treasure that was found, and there was a dispute over sovereignty of that particular treasure. So, you know, and we are in the throes of that today with the Benin bronzes, you know, that have been taken from Benin, West Africa, and distributed between the Germans and the British, you know. Yeah, but part of that is like spoils of war, and part of that is like just taking a people's heritage, you know, which I don't agree with, you know. And even if the people lose the war, give them back their history. You know, it's not their history that you defeated. You know, it is them at a particular point in history you're trying to conquer. You're not, you know, unless you're going to look after them for the rest of your life and into eternity, don't do that to people.
I'm sure you get offered a ton of roles. How do you pick what you want to do next? Could you easily float from like genre to genre to genre? Like, oh, I haven't done a science fiction movie in a while, or like, how do you pick something that you want to spend your time on?
You just hit on the head. Oh, well, I haven't done a science fiction in a moment, you know, for a while, you know, pretty much like that, you know. If you know, no, I don't get given offered a lot of roles, you know, but I do try to pick interesting roles for myself, and roles and part of stories that I think are interesting for a viewer to see as well. I think first and foremost, if it's got a challenge, or if there's something that I like, that I would like to be a part of, that's living my truth, then I will go with that. You know, when I was in Los Angeles some years back, I was receiving scripts that were just inane, just it made me wonder, like, why anyone, or why even a company would consider producing something that was so stupid. You know, and it got me to thinking that, you know, we have a wonderful tool at our hands with the media. We have a great responsibility as actors to tell stories that are worthy of being told, you know. But we also, in an industry that seduces us with the dollar sign, you know, and I understand that we need the dollar, we all do. But
Pay rent somehow, I guess.
you know, it's a funny balancing game that we have to play, you know, to maintain your own integrity, you know, and not to sell out, you know, and to use the craft that God has given you for the best purposes, you know.
Most of your characters, I feel like, have this confidence, either inward confidence or like sort of outwardly confidence. Are you that way in real life?
No. That's why I hide behind those characters. You know, for Freeman, for example, you know, he was such a lovely man. I realized that he was the man I want to be when I grow up. You know, there's some characters that are just written like that, you know, that have the map of your life inside of them, you know, and it gives you a chance to at least rehearse that, you know, in your for your own life. You know, haven't you found yourself sometimes as an actor saying lines from a piece, you know, to your partner, to your kids, to somebody else, and you figure, oh, where'd that come from? You know, oh, that's not really me, but oh yes, it is you. You know, So I do try to find things that, like I say, that feed me. People I'd like to be. I'm not always that confident, you know. And I think that now I'd like to find characters that are more serviceable to the world at large now. And that doesn't mean always being the good guy. If the story is a good story and proverbial in its own sense, you know, I'll go there. I'll be the bad guy in that if the story is right, you know. Yeah, I think that answers the question,
Yeah,
Lance.
yeah, absolutely. Well, when was the last time you were actually nervous on set? Are you still the first day jitters?
Yeah, yeah. There was not so much on set. I really had a huge. It was actually about 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago now. Just before lockdown, I was doing a play, and one of the actors said to me, "Clarke, you look like you're nervous. Are you all right?" And I had to admit I was scared shitless, and I had to and I'm glad that this actor pointed it out to me, because if he could see it, then everybody else in the company could see it. And although it was a challenging role and I came to it late, they were also depending on me to come through, you know, and I burdened myself with all of that responsibility rather than the responsibility of just doing the job and getting those lines down in that short space of time, you know. So I understand my nervousness, but it's not a place I want to inhabit ever again.
I'm from Maryland originally and really close to Baltimore. And The Wire is in one of my like top 2 shows ever. And I think it's easily one of the top 5 shows ever made. Do you like ever reflect on that time and think how special it or did you ever think how special it would become?
I never knew how special it would become, because I was in the moment, you know, so I wasn't really looking down, looking forward. But in hindsight, from this point, yes, I can see why it was special. And I guess I knew there was something unique about it, maybe by the 3rd season, simply because by the 3rd season, it was already in parts of Europe, and Europe was responding to it in a very interesting way. People in Spain were saying, "Oh, this is Madrid." You know, people in Ireland were saying, "Oh, man, this is Belfast or Dublin." You know, and that's what made me think, "Oh, there's something in this." And good stories are like that. Good stories are universal, and what that kind of shows you is that the system of governance that we live under is universal and has the same pitfalls as Maryland. Maryland, or Baltimore, Maryland, is the same, is a microcosm of the Western world in all of its flaws, really.
I just have a couple more questions because I'd probably talk to you for like 10 more hours, but you've done, you mentioned theater, you've done a lot of theater and musical theater as well. You played Sky Masterson twice. I've been in Guys and Dolls a couple times. Great show. I don't know, when was the last time you actually did a musical?
Ooh, 2010 maybe? Yes, that's the last time I performed in a musical, I think 2010. I directed one 2017, which felt really good because it was as close as I could get to a musical without being on stage. But it was lovely to be there, living the experience vicariously through all of the actors. Yeah. But 2010, 2011, I think was the last time I think that was it. Yeah. It's been a while. I'm about due.
Do you miss it? Like, even sometimes, because I've done straight plays and things like that, and sometimes there's like a point where you're like, I just want to do a musical. I just want to sing and get up there and, pretend to dance and, because I'm,
Yes.
dancing and me, we don't mix very well, but.
But I bet you're a hell of a singer. You have a great baritone voice there, Lance. I'm sure that you can really chirp well and enjoy that.
I do my best. Um, how do you prepare for a role? Does it get easier for you over time? Is it easier for you over time?
I don't know whether it gets easier or whether I pick roles that are fluid. And by that I mean going from one role to the next, being able to take something from the last role that you play and carry on with that journey into the next role. I remember when I first started doing theater, someone was saying, well, Clarke is the musical man. I thought, no, he's not the musical man. And I went from doing musicals into with the National Theater into something that was completely different. And then I was called back to the musical. And so for a while I was working 2 jobs, which was really very, very, very nice. I was doing a musical in the evening, and I was in repertory doing a straight play, a dramatic play during the day, which had nothing to do with music whatsoever. And I think that was the best time of my life, being able to go from one to the other. But as I get older, I think I like I say, the roles that can carry me through, or that can carry something from one to the next, and move like that. I think I like just if it's a well-written role and has some aspect of humanity in it, whether it's as you know, like with the characters in The Wire, they may have been gangsters, but you saw their humanity. You understood something about them. Those are the guys. Those are the kind of, that's the philosophy I like to use moving through characters from one to the other.
And the final question that I love to ask everybody is, what's been your worst audition ever?
My worst audition ever. Actually, my worst audition ever got me into the National Theater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't, I was auditioning for Sir Peter Hall, who was the head of the National Theater at that point in time, doing the Aristaya. And I don't know what, no, that wasn't my worst one. This was my worst one, coming to the RSC. And I was reading for Aaron, Titus Andronicus, and I had never read the play, and I was given these sides, and I'm reading these lines, and I think that I'm really giving it, and the director said, that's very interesting. Did you understand what you were saying? And I said, no. All I knew was to make sure that I hit the meter. Needless to say, I was not part of the RSC after that.
Thank you, no. Well, Clarke, man, thank you so much for chatting with me. I really appreciate it. I could talk to you forever. Yeah, and you have a great day.
And you too, Lance. My love to your kids, and be safe out there.
Thank you as well.
Bye for now.